This is the final amendment to the bill, which will not kill the bill or send it back to committee. If adopted, the bill will immediately proceed to final passage as amended. Simply put, Mr. Speaker, this amendment restricts the President from making public statements to promote his own business interests in the same way that the bill restricts statements by agencies on pending. If we intend to hold agencies accountable for their statements, we should certainly be willing to hold the President of the United States to those same standards. And Donald Trump's enormous web of business interests and conflicts of interest make it clear that it is necessary to explicitly expand this restriction to the President. It is deeply disturbing, Mr. Speaker, that the President has refused to release his tax returns or create a blind trust for the proceeds of his assets. Numerous U.S. presidents have placed their financial holdings into a blind trust that is managed by a trustee without any input from the President. This allows for the President to minimize any conflicts of interest and any suggestion that the presidency of the United States is being used for his own personal profits. This President, however, has avoided those calls for him to sell his assets or place them into a blind trust, and instead, documents obtained through public records requests show that President Trump has moved the assets over just in name to his son and a longtime employee, but that Trump himself, the President of the United States, is the sole beneficiary of all of those trusts. In other words, there is no wall erected between his businesses and his presidency, and anyone who wants to buy influence can simply do so openly. His entire presidency can be seen as a promotion of his business interests and be used by domestic and foreign governments to curry favor and produce benefit to his personal empire. Trump Tower in D.C. is one example of this. The building, which is leased to him by the federal government, stipulates in its lease that, quote, any elected official of the government of the United States may not derive any benefit from that agreement.
Suspend. Gentleman's correct. The House is not in order. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. Members, please remove your cameras from the House floor. Gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At 12:01 p.m. on Inauguration Day, Trump was in violation of this clause. That lease should be terminated effective immediately. And just last week, the Kuwaiti embassy held its annual event to celebrate the country's National Day at the President's D.C. hotel. The event was initially scheduled to take place at the Four Seasons, and in fact, a save-the-date went out with the Four Seasons location. But Kuwait canceled that reservation just a few days after the election and moved the event to the President's hotel after that happened. These are not isolated instances. They constitute a pattern of conflicts of interest every time a foreign government holds a reception or rents a room at a Trump property, a problem so important to this country that it was put into the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution of the United States of America. The American people should also be deeply concerned about conflicts of interest at the President's Mar-a-Lago resort. On January 1st, 2017, just 2 months after the election of Donald Trump, the exclusive resort doubled its membership initiation fee from $100,000 to $200,000. When Trump took Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe there, it created even more free publicity for the resort, as several social media posts were made throughout the weekend. Conducting government affairs in public settings not only has serious national security concerns, but indicates that anyone who wants to be a member of the club will have access to the President of the United States, and the President will personally profit off of their membership. Mr. Speaker, the American people have a right to know what the entire web of conflicts of interest are, but we have yet to get this information because we have not received.
The gentlewoman will suspend. The gentleman is correct. The House is not in order. The House will be in order. Members, please remove your conversation from the House floor. The House will be in order. Gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have yet to get any information from this President, his tax returns, or any of the documents that help us to ensure that he is complying with the Constitution of the United States of America, that document that he swore to uphold and protect. and so that we can make sure that he is not using the highest office of this land to profit. The American people have the right to demand that this president put their interests first rather than his own business interests. I urge all of my colleagues to pass this motion to recommit and demand that we uphold our Constitution, protect this democracy, and the duty of this president to work not for the business interests, but for we the people. I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The gentlewoman from Washington yields back the balance of her time.